what do we have? The question I like to always start out and to ask is, what is our bot lane? What is their bot lane? And what do we know about the bot lanes?
So, Pike, super aggressive, super slippery. Kaisa, um, does a bit of damage. Jin, slow auto attacks. Morgana, be super aggressive. You know, might be a little hard to land the bind on the Pike and Kaisa because of her speed up.
What
But
levels do we win, and what levels do they win? And how do we win at these levels, or how do they win at these levels?
um, so I would honestly, I would think Morgana Jin win a level one. If we get the level two lead, obviously that we want to capitalize on that. But if I have bind and then he's just able to get like a force shot or his um, get proc that dark harvest, it'd be good. I think level two, I would argue Pike can make quite a bit of a difference with his pull and then dash. I think at three, the spell shield will be really helpful for Morgana, just to make sure that Pike can't be as aggressive. But I think in that level two like spot, Pike should probably look to be as aggressive as possible. And then um, at six, I'd argue that they win in an all in. Um, but that's just me thinking in past, I guess, skirmishes when I've been Morgana with
Hmm.
going against a Kaisa. She can escape my ult really easily with her ult.
Yeah.
So that makes things tricky. And Pike can also, there's quite a few times actually, Pike is really slippery and escapes my ult. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say Jin's ult is a skirmishing ult. It's
Right.
very much
Right. Right.
like, let's get the last hit.
Okay. So pretty much what we said was that our level one is stronger, the level two is stronger, our level three is a little bit stronger, right?
Hmm.
Okay. And you say this because our level three is now when we get spell shield.
Yeah.
What is your reasoning for not taking spell shield at level two?
Um, Honestly, probably just like muscle memory or like habit, get that pool of seconds so that if you land a bind, you have that damage.
Yep. Okay.
So that's probably really the only reason that I had. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm sorry. I'm also eating at the same time. My bad. I
It's
all
fine.
right. So the big thing I want to say is when we're playing champions that have abilities, um, that are, mm, let's say, that provide a lot of different uses, right? Something
Hmm.
like Thresh, has his lantern, which is way different than the requirements needed for like a flay or like a hook, right? In
Yeah.
certain situations, when you're playing certain champions, you might need to level up different abilities. That's, I think, fairly simple, right? Of a
Hmm.
concept. Let's say you're Nautilus and you start your hook. Afterwards, instead of taking your E, you want to take your shield because you're about to go in for like a huge trade, and you want to make sure that you tank it, right?
Hmm.
Let's say in this example, they're playing Pike. I think you noticed, but when we get into this game, Pike normally takes E level two, but he went W to avoid a lot of damage, right? Yeah, so things like this, always be aware of what your matchup is, and in a Morgana lane, the key thing to winning your lane against engaged champions is gonna be that Black Shield, and the main reason that we would opt to not go Black Shield is if we were to start pool and try to force our way to level two guaranteed,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Other than that, I couldn't really see a reason that you wouldn't want to go level two E. Um, well, actually, if they have no CC as well is another big reason. If they have no CC, then going W level two is also not bad. The damage,
Mm.
matters quite a bit. So level one, keep in mind, their level one is still really strong, right? If they land a hook on us with
Yeah.
Kaisakyu, it's not going to be too great for us. But the
Yeah.
same thing applies if we land a binding and Jin can get some autos in, excuse me, or he can get a force shot, or a Q. It's going to do quite a bit, right? So
Hmm.
our levels are kind of even. We both have a bunch of damage, but we do have that black shield advantage. They have a little more CC, but it is what it is. Also, Kaisa does really well when people are isolated from minions, while Jin can fight in a minion wave pretty easily with his Q.
Mm.
These are just habits that I want to make sure we, or these are just like game knowledge, laning knowledge of, what is our matchups, what is theirs, and just more experience against these champions, and the more that you kind of like look at how we're losing or how they're winning, stuff like that, it's going to make it a little easier in the future games. Just basically look at, okay, what's the main way that they're winning this lane? It's really obvious at first, right? Someone gets pike hooked or something like that. Oh, that's why we lost the trade. We got pike hooked. Keep that in mind for the future. Pike's hook is an ability that we need to look out for, right? If it goes on cooldown, maybe I can punish, etc., etc.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I will be pointing out a lot of things that might seem obvious, but
No. It's like things that to me like obviously should be obvious,
yeah,
but
yeah.
in that moment it's like.
Oop. All right. So in this lane, we're two range champions against one melee, one range, right?
Mm-hmm.
In general, when you have this situation, a lot of the times you win the push advantage to level 2. Okay, and why is that?
You don't have to walk up to the minion, and also
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about the other team poking you down trying to get those minions.
Yeah, basically, we can take the minions for free.
Yeah.
So, if it's just a trade between Jin and Kaisa, just these two alone, we do not exist in the picture, and Pyke does not exist. Who pushes to level 2 faster?
Um. Hmm. I need to think this out loud before I give my
Go
answer.
ahead.
So Jin has his fourth shot. He has a slower auto attack speed um, with the four shots and then the reload. But then he has his Q. Usually that's what he starts with, which can help clear 4 minions. But then Kaisa has her Q, which kind of attacks everything at once. And her attack speed is not limited. I would say still maybe Jin because the Q can at least clear the 4 easily. Before I think Kaisa can clear all 6.
Mm,
Would
okay.
you argue Kaisa?
uh, so basically, we're saying if we take away Q ability, because the reason, okay, so Kaisa's Q does almost the same thing as Jin's Q, where gets a bunch of minions low, right?
Mhm.
Um, Jin's Q kind of requires for the minion to be low already to get maximum damage from it, and then Kaisa requires to be with less minions to get maximum damage from it, right?
Mm.
These things are like very minor. Don't really worry too much about it. The big thing is Jin usually getting to level 2 is pretty hard against someone that can consistently attack, right? Jin's attack speed is very limited, as well as he has to reload. So pushing to level 2 on his own, during the whole reload animation, Kaisa can still throw in autos. For the
Mm.
most part, if you're not sure on who's going to get level 2 first, that's okay. That's why we play this, and that's why that's why we play the game, to, kind of learn on what happens. If we just in future games, if you ever have the Kaisa versus Jin matchups, keep in mind that if we weren't gonna attack any minions, and they're not their support's not attacking any minions, in most games Kaisa will get level 2 first. I think her Q cooldown's also lower.
Okay.
This scenario is a little bit hard to picture. Let's say it's Tristana versus Jin.
Hmm. I
Uh,
would say definitely Tristana.
so yeah, so that one's a lot more clear. Tristana has a lot more push power, and so it's pretty obvious. These things are very, very important to know, and the reason I'm pointing it out right now is because if it's just a battle of the ADCs, in that example, Tristana would be out pushing the Jin. But this is not just a battle of ADCs. We have a range support versus a melee support, they cannot step up to help push. And this is a key thing. In lanes that it's ranged versus melee, you should never get level 2 before them or after them. You should
Uh,
always get it before them, right? The exception to this rule is if you're, intentionally manipulating waves for a certain reason, or if we have to leash and they don't have to leash. That should be pretty much the only exception to the rule. Maybe we get hooked at level 1 and that kind of screws us up, but that's just us misplaying, right? In terms of waves, we should help with the wave. And I don't see supports do this enough. We don't want to shove the wave into tower, right? We don't want to have it hard push that, the level 2 that we get is all the way over here. This is not going to be too good for us, right? Always keep in mind on what the minions look like. And so we might get into a lot more minion wave control, the wave state, advantages on pushing, advantages on slow pushing, stacking waves, etc., because you're getting a little bit higher into the ranks. And the higher that you go, the more important these concepts will be. Okay, so right now, right, we see the wave state. We're at basically like a half a minion advantage, right? Can you agree?
yeah.
Yeah, so we basically have one half minion advantage against them. In this lane, if you ever see that we're a full minion down or it's even, right? Anything like that, do your best to try to change that with your auto attacks. Because remember, this applies in a ranged versus melee matchup. Their ADC their support cannot help push until level 2. And since we don't have Targons, we got to do as much as we can right now. When we have that, that relic shield passive, when Pyke has that relic shield passive, that next wave, he's gonna yoink 2 of them like almost instantly, and this difference is not enough, right? This difference is not enough. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all. This is what I want to keep in mind. I know it's very, very specific, but this applies to, let's say you're playing as Morgana against Leona. It's the same concept. She usually starts a Targons, or something, some relic shield item. I say Targons, I say, it was called a lot of things, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has her support item that can help push the wave. And so if we don't make a difference early on, then they're gonna either get level 2 at the same time as us, or they're gonna be getting level 2 ahead of us, and that's not good. Right? Okay, give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I had a phone call from my mom. All right. So, let's recap. What was I talking about?
So pretty much just taking advantage of us having 2 ranged champions versus the 1 range and 1 melee, to help push, making sure that we're getting that level 2 advantage, but not making it so that the level 2 advantage is right up against their tower, because
Yeah.
then we can't capitalize on that. And just being careful because most melee supports will take some type of relic shield or
Mm-hmm.
steal whatever the AP one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does the same thing. Because if they get level 2 before us or even at the same time of us, it just means that we're not doing something right.
Yes,
And we can
exactly.
capitalize on that mistake very heavily.
Perfect. All right, so let's watch the clip. Right now, we're staying at, a little bit of an advantage, but it's not really too big of a difference. Next wave is coming, and here's where Pyke's really going to shine. If we don't do anything with the wave, if we're not auto-attacking right now, which we aren't, now we are, then it's going to be almost too late. Right? We start auto-attacking now. It's already getting pretty close. Pyke's already annihilated 2 minions with that relic, right? And now it's back to almost an even trade. The goal is to practice this so that we have a 2 minion lead and they only have 1. Or right, or they have none, right? A 2-0 is our goal. If we can get this, then we know that the chances of them getting level 2 while they're fighting is going to be very, very low because they have 2 full minions to get. And even if the minions aren't on full HP, if they're relatively healthy, then it's good for us. If it's 1 minion and the minion gets low, then it's if the 1 minion gets low, then it's not really going to be too good for us. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Basically, we want to make sure that we have this lead. Holy okay. Thank you again for the follow. All right. So, right now we're about to get level 2 first. Let's see what we do with this level 2 advantage. Because keep in mind, we're against someone that has a very, very strong level 2, right? Melee champions are usually pretty good when they get their level of advantages.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we go here. This is where, when I was watching, I was a little bit confused. So what is our idea here? We have level 2. What do we want to do with level 2?
So I wanted to land the bind and then put a pool down.
Bind on who?
Ideally it would have been the Kaisa. However, I saw Pike was walking up, and I thought, if I land a bind and they're still level 1, and I put the pool down and ignite, Jin can do enough damage.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not the case. And I ended up getting pulled, obviously, as you see there.
Yeah, so right now, what we notice is that if we go for a binding, right, we see that our Jin is pretty far away, right, if we were to go for one on Kaisa, and their Pike's a little bit closer, right? So, in this situation, we've already kind of, we've almost fell into Pike's trap. We walk into a blind bush, and this minion's starting to get really low. And so the level 2 for them is coming as well. And so this is starting to be a little bit scary. The key reason that a lot of Morgana players take E at level 2, even if they have the level 2 advantage, is because of situations like this, right? We ideally should be able to walk straight at them from the start. So when we get our level 2, and we know we're getting our level 2, we have to take advantage of it. So this minion we know is getting us level 2. We're still, let's go back a little bit. And I'm going to go into micro movements, right? So I really want you to kind of pay attention to your small movements that you're making right now. Only during the laning phase. I don't expect you to, have perfect micro movements outside of level 2. But just try to almost perfect your level 2. That's the key concept of bot lane. And any pro player, if you ever watch some of their games, some players in SKT and stuff like that, they actually almost never make a micro movement mistake, like even just clicking back once. They almost never do that until the 9-minute mark. It's pretty insane. But our goal is to try to get it for the 2-minute mark, right? That's our goal. So we go here. We're having our level 2 advantage. At this point, we know that this minion's going to die. We know that we'll get a level 2 advantage. We should just either walk up straight at them, or we should look for a better angle from above or from below. We decided to go for below, but we see Pike also running towards below. So if we don't have Black Shield, we can't do much. But pretty much best case, run straight at them. And we're playing Morgana, so we can Black Shield ourselves and just run straight at them. If Kaisa wants to dodge our binding, she has to walk towards the minion wave, right? If she walks towards the minion wave, we have our Jin here. Right, so this is the idea. This, as really specific as it seems, happens so often, you'll start to notice a pattern. And we should play around these patterns so that bad habits don't come up too often. Like this situation, we shouldn't have to deal with any if we took level 2 first or second or E level 2. Jeez.
Yeah. I knew you meant.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically, right, so this is what I mean by micro movement, right? Where are we going? We get level 2, we should just run straight at them. And this is very, very nitpicky, right? But it will make quite a bit of a difference in terms of pressure, for one, because now Kaisa should be scared to attack this minion, right? Instead of,
Mm,
hey, we're running away, right? We're really not near Kaisa. She's got quite a bit of a distance to dodge our binding, right? Especially on someone like Morgana, where our
yeah.
binding is super slow. And then also Pyke is now, running into the bush and taking advantage of the vision. I'm not sure where we used our ward. I think we warded our blue, right, for our jungler.
No, I warded the chickens.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
I always try to get an early ward on chickens so that mid laner can see where the jungler is.
mm,
Um, I feel like it's more of a award for others and not
yeah.
so much myself. I feel like that
It,
Lucian's really pushed up, and yeah,
if we do
I don't know.
that, if we do go for a ward like that, you'll see it a lot in pro play. You'll see it a lot in high elo. When they go for an early ward like this, they will base and swap their trinket.
Oh yeah,
Excuse me.
okay.
Yeah. When you swap your trinket, the cooldown gets reduced heavily. I think it goes down to like 20 seconds, and so you'll have it back up for lane as the idea.
Mm.
If you
Wait, so you would get red trinket and then back to yellow trinket,
no, sorry,
or you just get the red trinket?
you'd stick. So you'd start with a red or yeah. Okay, start with a yellow trinket, and you'd
Mhm.
ward. If you wanted to, red. Obviously, I don't like doing that for my teammates because honestly, I'm just trying to play for lane. But it's up to you.
Mhm.
If you, maybe you're a duo with your mid laner or something like that, and you want to help them out, or maybe their jungler's very scary of a threat, something
Mhm.
like that, right? We ward, and then we base, and we buy our red trinket, and we basically stay with red trinket for a bit, pretty much, ideally for the whole game.
Okay.
But it is definitely hard because now you have no more vision. But
Yeah.
the idea is we win bot lane with this red trinket because now I can take bush of control. I can deny their vision, and I can allow for our jungler to help us.
Okay.
But without a ward, we're not really doing any of that, right?
Yeah.
So it's that we're in the same spot. We don't have a ward, but now we're not allowed to deny vision. We're not allowed to check for people in bushes with our red trinket, stuff like that. So this is a useful tip that
Okay.
will probably help out, and it'll save you 3 minutes of doing nothing. It'll allow you to have red trinket up. But yeah, okay. So back to level 2. I know I'm just kind of
No, you're
rambling
good.
about different things, but there's a lot in this small situation that really dictates the lane. Especially with someone like Kaisa Pike, they're really strong of a laning duo if they get ahead, right? And if we start falling behind, as Morgana Jin, our Jin's not really gonna do much damage. I've seen a lot of Jins that fall behind and just tickle people. It's never fun.
Mm.
Okay, so recap real fast. We want level 2. We know we're getting level 2. I want to engage with my E on me and just go for, ideally AD carry, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In most situations, you want to go for ADC. We take E level 2, so we don't have to worry about the damage from Pyke or the CC from Pyke.
That's
Sorry,
easy.
yeah, not damage, but the CC from Pyke. We don't have to worry about that. And we create pressure. Kaisa is either forced to run away, or she wants to dodge the binding, she has to kind of go weave into the minions. If she goes into the minions, our Jin's here,
Mhm.
right? So this is the recap. The idea is we want to make it clear that, hey, level 2's coming up. I'm gonna go in. You can also ping, but I'm not gonna flame you for not pinging or anything like that. Um, but I would recommend pinging when you know
Mhm.
level 2 is gonna come. Honestly, ADCs, they play this role so much, but they still don't know when level 2 is coming. It's actually crazy. But we do have nothing better to do other than look at level 2. So when level 2 comes for us, or it's about to come, I ping that, hey, I want to go in,
Mhm.
right? And then we just walk straight at them. We walk straight at them, maybe binding on ourselves.
Yeah.
Start with some auto attacks, see where she goes. If she stays, like up here and she wants to fight, we start out with like an early ignite for heal, to get reduced, and then just try to look to land a binding. If
Mhm.
we can't land a binding, what is Pyke gonna do to us? Oh, look, Pyke's focusing us, but our Jin is focusing AD. Who wins if these guys are focusing us, but Jin and us are focusing them, right? Who's gonna win this? We might die, but she also will die, right? And then who
Mhm.
wins? AD's left
Yeah.
alive, support's left alive. AD gets all the experience. their
Mhm.
support gets nothing, or their AD gets nothing. So
Yeah.
this is also, yeah, just something to keep
So
in
it's like
mind.
the funneling of gold,
Yeah,
essentially.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
So yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, all right. So let's start it up. The face cam is not on for right now.
I was gonna say your fans are
Yeah, 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 they're popping off in chat. Yeah. Okay, so this is just unfortunate, right? We're going. We I think you try to go for Kaisa here, and then we get hooked, right? And the only person in our way is the Pike. Pike gets.
Well, at this point, I didn't think I was gonna get Kaisa. I
Oh,
just went
okay.
for the Pike.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so regardless, right? We're going for
Yeah.
Pike. We want to look to see if we can kill Pike. But here's where the situation arises of focusing a support. If you're in any better of elo, this Kaisa will turn on this guy. And the Pike, at the very least, just needs to drop Ignite to be useful. Because now Jin can't heal to the
Mhm.
fullest. Right? And if we're in a situation where our ADC can be focused very easily, right? Um, I don't know if you've ever watched any of Core JJ's videos. Um, if not, I will link them to you. I highly, highly recommend some of his coaching videos, or some of his support guide videos, because it will go over positioning of you and your AD versus them and their support, and where standing actually matters, and who our targets are matter relative to our position. So in this certain situation, right, if we somehow land a binding onto Kaisa, okay, in this exact moment right now, imagine this guy's not binded. If we exact moment right now, our Jin is able to attack the Kaisa pretty easily, right? We can still step up and attack Kaisa. Not bad for us. If we're going for this guy, our Jin can attack him pretty easily. We can attack him pretty easily. But then we look at it vice versa. What do they get to attack? Their closest target is our AD carry, right? For their ADC is them, and the support sure can focus us, um, but you'll start to notice the higher elo you go, focusing AD is just gonna change the lane quite a lot,
Yeah.
because AD does all the damage, unless you're Leona, then you just 1v2 the lane. But yeah,
Mhm.
basic here. If this Kai'Sa was a little bit better, she would go and focus the Jin, and it would make it really rough for us. She's now realized, hey, I can't kill this Morgana anymore. I'm just gonna attack Jin. What happens now? I mean, I watched, but you know, the Jin's getting a focused. We're
Yeah.
unfortunately still going on to the Pike.
Yeah.
What? Let's go back just a tiny bit, and let's look at the position. Right. Let's look at the position right now. Who's the closest target for our Jin to hit? It's pretty much
It's
only
like
Pike, right?
yeah.
But these two, who's the closest target for them to hit? It's our Jin. We're way too far, right? And so now Jin's taking all of the damage, and
Yeah.
honestly, there's not much we can do about it because we kind of said we have to commit for this guy because we binded him, because there's no way he's gonna be able to attack him,
Yeah.
right? So you see how it's not that we missed our binding on Kaisa, it's that our positioning in the start and who we were focusing is what's pretty much making this fight
Yeah.
very, very hard for us. Also, the fact that we got hooked fucked up our positioning quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
But to prevent getting hooked on Morgana, right, we take level 2 first. Or second.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so all this makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, oh yeah, let's actually watch. Right, our AD is getting focused, like I said.
Yeah.
Pike unfortunately survives, which makes it a really, really, really unfortunate for us.
Yeah.
And then I think we got hooked. Oh yeah, we flash
Yeah.
into it. Oh yeah, he's just
Yeah.
faker. Yeah, he's just honestly the best player in the game.
I was trying to. I saw him charging it,
Hmm, hmm.
and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to like weave, and then at the last second, I was like, okay, I'm gonna flash, and then he just knew exactly where I
Yeah,
was
he
gonna
was just. Oh yeah, he was just 300 IQ.
go.
But overall, right? If we die or if we survive there, it doesn't change the fact that the play itself could have improved by far from the
Hmm.
start of the play to when we got to mid lane and we should have attacked minions more, to the end of the play where we're focusing the wrong target, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the key
Yeah.
thing. This situation in game, you just think, oh, that's super unlucky that Pike survived, right? That is the only thing that goes through your head, and it's the only thing that happened. Sorry, I'm not trying to like directly target you, but it's the only
Oh
thing
no.
that will happen when you're playing. If anyone was the Morgana in this situation, the only thing that goes through your head is, God damn it, we couldn't kill the Pike, and that's why we lost this. That's like maybe my Jin didn't do enough damage. I didn't do enough damage. We couldn't kill the Pike. That's why we lost this. But in reality, who are we focusing? How did this get to this point? Is how we can prevent this from happening in the future.
Yeah.
All right. So we spent a lot of time on laning phase, but yeah. Sorry, I'm muted. This is also another time where you did it last game, I think, but right, they killed us. Where are they gonna go? Are they gonna stay?
Um,
Probably not.
I mean, if they were pushing, they could probably just recall.
Mhm.
I think I don't remember why I went straight to lane. I maybe said something in the video. Because I don't know. I don't know what the reason was. Um, it was intentional. That's unfortunate. But didn't do enough damage. I landed like 3 binds on them too. It might have been that. Oh, I think it was because I was like, if the level disadvantage, like they're already 3, and I'm not even halfway to level 3.
True. We should always look at our other lanes, though, right? I think I did mention this.
You said,
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
the camera around.
Yep. Always look at what mid's looking like, because right now, from what I can see, which I can't see too much, it looks like mid's gonna shove into us. And honestly, the fact that we're a lower level right now doesn't matter too much. It really doesn't. We will get this level back. If we'll get this level back, ideally before dying. It is a big wave. Giving Jin the solo EXP as well will be really, really helpful for our Jin to come back into the game, because he is the one that died early. Excuse me, and their AD got 2 kills out of it, right? So giving the solo EXP to our Jin is not bad. But if we aren't able to get a roam, then go back and get this EXP. But we should always look. We also bought boots first, so it's even more important that we look, because we're able to come back to lane faster. All right. Didn't. All right. I'm just getting flamed in my own Twitch chat.
I know. Calling you a low-level Plat player.
It's okay. I mean, the thing is, like, even in your own elo, you still can do coaching, because the concepts still apply. I think most of my mistakes, I have a lot of mechanical mistakes because I'm just a boomer at this point, I guess. I don't know. My hands are starting to slow down because of how cold it gets, and it's really sad.
Yeah. Oh, I think I maybe even said that in my video. I was like, my hands are cold. I'm
Yeah.
I like have a candle that I just like keep next to my keyboard.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Let's look. What happened mid? He got ganked. And we had their jungle. Oh, yeah. At this point, we should have been mid, right? And if we were mid, this could have been 3v2. Because Fiddlesticks, Kha'Zix, I'm assuming you're looking at the minimap with me, but yeah. Fiddlesticks, Kha'Zix, and Yone Lucian are all there. And if we're there, we actually change the fight quite a lot. Especially if we had Black Shield, it could have done some help for the magic damage from both of them. They both do a little bit of magic damage, so it would have provided as a useful shield. But regardless, if we were there, we could make a difference. And this is this is just missed opportunities, right? And the games kind of snowball off of these missed opportunities, especially a game that you feel like you have no control of. The main reason you feel like you have no control is because we keep coming back bot lane, or we made a mistake in the early game that we didn't even realize that, really could have snowballed the game. And it's not the main reason we lost. Or actually, it might be, but it's something that we can look to improve on to help prevent future losses.
Hmm.
right? Because remember, if we're ahead earlier, it gives us just an easier chance of winning, and that's the main
Yeah, and
goal.
they probably wouldn't be flaming each other too, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, true, 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 true. They are flaming each other now. Yeah, if they instead, the enemy would flame the support, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens plenty, plenty. Hello. Oh, it's the Annie I coached. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. All right. So we decided to do dragon. What did
I
our
didn't like
lane?
this call.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not like this
Let
call.
me go back
Uh,
here. Mm, okay. So this wave, they can't freeze. It's too close to tower, right? I think it just took a tower shot. This wave will slow push into us. So that is, at the very least, it's not stuck here. That's what I wanted to make sure. Our wave did not get stuck here, right? If there were maybe 4 minions over here that were like on like full HP and they weren't taking tower aggro, we would lose so much by going to that dragon right now.
mhm.
I want you to be aware of this because I can tell that you're not because I couldn't really see the lane myself. Um, and I can see that you're not really panning your camera to see the lane itself, right?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So keep this in mind. Very,
Okay.
very important. If we're rotating to one of these dragons, when I played some games that I was smurfing in lower elo, so many people just really want to do dragon and they don't realize how fucked the waves are. It's actually crazy. But play for make sure that your lanes push before you go to the dragon. Because remember, how much damage are we realistically doing to this dragon? 43 an auto? Are we really doing
Yeah.
that much?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, instead we can maybe be mid earlier. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I think I come here, but I'm not even needed.
Yeah, it's
I
okay.
really
No,
think.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. At this
Yeah.
point, I would soak up the EXP, help him shove, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
This is oh perfect cosmic there, but this is how you get your EXP back when you're roaming as well.
Hmm.
It's a lot of the times your Lucian's on like 2 HP, right? He needs to shove his wave, and if we learn about wave management, right, why does he need to shove this wave? Because if he doesn't, the wave's just gonna get fucked over here. We're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Lucian's gonna lose a lot of minions. If we end up shoving the wave, Lucian doesn't lose minions, and instead the Yone loses a lot of minions to tower. Right. This is the reason we need to shove the wave, and we know this because we play bot lane ourselves, right? And bot
Yeah.
lane concepts apply to mid. If we know this, what we should do is help him out. Because if he's gonna stay to shove and he's on 2 HP and their jungler is still alive, how free does this look for the Kazakhs, right? Very free.
Hmm.
All right, so this is why we help. Unless something really, really important is happening bot lane, always look. This is why we look around. But just keep that in mind. This is going to be pretty huge, and I don't want it to become a bad habit. So I am going to try to see if we remember this later on. But
Okay.
yeah,
That's
very,
good.
very important
I
to,
appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah. So what happens here? The lane doesn't get pushed into tower, unfortunately, and instead, do we kill? Oh, we missed binding. Unfortunate. If we landed it,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been that bad. But now Lucian's forced to stay. His base timing is going to be kind of fucked compared to the Yone, right? Yone's about to come back, eat up this
Yeah.
wave. If Yone's smart, he can stop the Lucian recall if Lucian recalls like in a bad spot.
Hmm.
Overall, this is just not going to be too good for our laner. And I know how much this sounds like why are we focusing on mid? I thought we were talking about bot lane. I thought we were talking about support. This matters so much because we roam. And if we
Yeah.
roam and we don't take full advantage of our roam, then our laners actually get fucked by our roams. Because we could do so much, but we're not. Right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So recap, what did I say about mid lane? We need to make sure that if we end up coming mid lane or anything like that, we're always looking, right? That's the key thing. Two, we should see what the wave is like. If we end up getting a kill or a flash or something like that, always make sure that our 80 or our laner is good to either shove his lane, or if he's plenty on HP, then you can leave him alone. But if he isn't that healthy, which will happen so often, help him shove. It gives you a bunch of EXP to come back into the game as well. And a similar thing, you said I needed catch the EXP bot lane. Remember?
Yeah.
This is how we catch that EXP by helping our laners and getting EXP at the same time. All right. So, ooh, what's the reason we're recalling here? Oh, debate. That's why. Okay. Kind of. I guess. Okay. this is. This is. This is max range binding
Yeah.
that manages to hit. A lot of the times I wouldn't count on this. I really just
Mhm.
wouldn't. But in this scenario, it did go well. So I won't say too much, but just keep in mind, you know how often max range binds miss and
Yeah.
how easy they are to dodge. If you're ever gonna look for max range bindings, we don't want to do that, right? Unless like it's the only resort.
Well,
But it
then
worked
some
out
like
for us.
Patio Eternals, you know.
Oh
But
yeah. Oh, is that actually an internal?
yeah.
Oh, that's doomed. That's so bad. All right, so oof, that's okay. Um, a thing I actually really like to do because we're Morgana and we can't get punished from CC, um,
Mhm.
is just straight up walk into them and auto. Right, this is where patience comes in. Auto
Mhm.
attacking will either get you some of your relic things off and chunk them, and if they
Mhm.
ever decide to throw an auto attack back at you and you time it with your Q, bam, tower aggro and they die.
Mhm.
Right? So we don't have to always go for the
The bomb.
the whiff, and we don't have to what's the word? We don't have to always go for it very early, right? Back to patience, we talked about before. Um, this is more of a harder situation to read that patience can be used, right? But as explained, if we just start out with the auto attacks, it, Kaisa will probably auto attack us or Q us just by habit.
Mhm.
So many plat players do this. It's actually crazy, and the amount of times you can catch someone um, tanking tower in a binding is going to be quite a lot. Um, oh, yeah, they always want to go for the auto attacks on you. It
Yeah.
happens so often.
I was sad that he didn't get the aggro, but
Yeah, it's
that
okay.
was the Kaisa, you
Yeah,
know.
because she auto attacked. Do you use alt commands at all? Did I mention this?
So I started doing alt shield
Okay, that was with
a
you.
little
Okay,
bit
okay.
more. Sometimes I forget, but I've been trying to get in the habit of alt shielding myself. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I was not looking. I was like, okay, it was just completely out of
uh,
shook.
yeah, it's I find it very funny.
Yeah,
Laners. We notice this.
yeah,
He's
I
really,
know.
really, really trying
It's
here.
on a little bit.
Um,
Yeah.
this is actually very important for us as well, and not the fact that we didn't see it, but the fact that when we're pinging, how useful was these pings for him? How
What do
useful,
you
or
mean?
sorry, how useful was these pings for us?
They should have been more useful. I think
Right,
there was
but
yeah,
it wasn't too useful because we're focused on our lane, right? And
yeah.
to make pings like this useful, which you'll need to do as a support because supports roam a lot, instead of just pinging your lane, ping where they're gonna go. Start question mark pinging into the river and start pinging
Mhm.
up closer towards the lane. Because what Lucian's doing right now is he's pinging his own lane, but the sound that you hear from that ping honestly just gets negated, and you really don't see too much because of how often Mia pings are used as flame.
Mhm.
People have developed a tolerance to Mia pings. They don't really hear it as much anymore because it's just used as flame so often, and it's actually
Yeah.
really sad. But the idea is if Lucian pinged our lane and we saw the pings in front of our face, then we'd be like, oh shit, what's happening, right? Why am I getting pinged? Am I getting flamed? No, there's an enemy missing. Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
probably gonna be the thought process in our head.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's we'll just not look at that. Don't worry about it. Well, we didn't. So the
It
idea,
was a
yeah,
this was
yeah.
a flop. Yeah,
The
it was a
idea
flop.
there was we shouldn't go for that because mid was missing, right?
Yeah.
That was basically it. We didn't realize mid was missing, so
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. But that does help because remember, even though it's a mistake that we made, we can use it still as a way to help us in the future to now use more useful pings, right? I can't tell you to pay attention to the minimap more. Well, I can, but it won't really do too much for you. This is just like one of those situations that we play the game a little bit more and we get more aware of our surroundings. If this becomes a habit, we can start saying, okay, before we look for something, always pay attention to the mini map and who's missing. So we have like kind of a trigger before we like a trigger safe action before we do something. But if it doesn't become a habit, then don't worry about it, right? If this was just like a one-time thing, then that's okay. And that's why I really, really, really like people that do more than one session, because then I start seeing habits a lot more and what is a habit and what isn't a habit, right?
Mhm.
Because I don't know if that laning, I don't know if that action in your lane is a habit or not. Also, what did we buy?
I don't think typically it is. I think that was literally just a flop.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We didn't have enough for our item, or for our boots. Unfortunate.
Mhm.
That's the most like the saddest amount of gold that I hate sitting on when I'm a support. When I barely don't have enough for boots. Okay.
So I was a little confused as to I saw this. He had his ult the whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't know why he didn't go in. Because he was also pinging me to back off, but I had already engaged.
Right.
Um,
So this is also common. I think for this game we're gonna go very much through laning phase and then kind of skim through the end of the game, if that's okay.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but so I'm gonna go over this for as well. I don't think that this is more important or less important than anything. Okay, so I just want you to just keep this in mind, and there's going to be a lot of things to keep in mind. But again, we have the VOD if you ever want to rewatch it,
Yeah.
which I would recommend at least once to, skim through, say, oh shit, what
Yeah, I
was he
was
talking
last
about?
time too.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, so that this helps me. Also the big reason I record is because now I can add a little bit more information for you, and you don't have to worry too much because I could just look at the VOD later, right? So, how does our fiddlesticks gank us? Let's start out with that.
He can ult over the wall.
He
He has flash up, so
Yes, so he
yeah.
can alt over the wall. Which wall?
I mean, kind of where your mouse is a little bit, like around, well, the right one.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this one, right?
Wall two, yeah.
Yeah, wall two. So the basic idea is if Fiddlesticks alts over this wall, he's gonna
Mhm.
be about here, right?
Mhm.
If he has flash, maybe we gotta travel to here, maybe, right?
Mhm.
That's hoping that our jungler uses our flash for just a normal gank, which they really don't like doing. Junglers are pretty greedy. So the big thing to note is that am I looking at my jungler? But during this gank, what does he want? Can you tell what he wants from this? If not, that's
Um,
okay. Because right now, what I saw is that your intention was way different than his. Your intention was, hey, I'm going to go in and get them to fight me, and then Fiddlesticks ults over the wall, and we win this, right? I'm guessing that's what I'm
so
assuming from your
my
gameplay.
intention, my intention was I'm pushing for this level 6.
Okay,
Um,
good, good.
and basically, even if he didn't, I guess the way it played out in my head was like, um, I had a feeling that if he ulted over the wall from where he was, I didn't even think that the edge of the ult would touch her.
Yeah,
Uh, but I knew he had flash up, and I honestly, even if the ult was just means as transportation, I felt like the fear would have been good,
yeah,
uh, and then the extra damage, just because I know that me getting 6, I can lock Kaisa's
right.
like body down
Yeah,
pretty hard. I wasn't looking at this now. I'm sure he wanted her to push in more so that he
yeah,
could engage the game.
yeah, yep, yep, yep.
Uh, but I was worried that she would just get that first like wave, like the first three, and kind of just back off, um,
Mm.
and then
Well,
uh,
right now, why she has her pike near, right?
Yeah.
What would be her reasoning for leaving instead of getting this wave into tower? Is
I
she
think
scared of
because
just us?
Fiddlesticks typically gank from that wall, it's kind of, at least when I don't know, at least when I play like on the bottom side, like red side, um, I feel like I've been ganked by Fiddlesticks so many times over that wall that it's like I don't really want to stick around. Um,
Mm, okay, so here's the thing. This is very, very small, but Fiddlesticks just got 6. You see this?
mhm,
So at this point, you're kind of expecting too much from these players. There's no way that they're really expecting for Fiddlesticks to be 6 right now because
mm,
he honestly just got it. And Plat players with their Plat bot laners don't have the best jungle tracking, right? Um, and no flame to Plat players, but they don't really pay attention to the jungler too often, other than hey, maybe I can get ganked. They don't really look at jungler has this amount of CS. He's taken these camps. He's going to be on this side of the map. He should be level 6 at this time, right? Something like that. That happens when you get to a lot higher elo. But if this gank doesn't work, right? The idea is we're getting a gank and we should kind of see what the enemy wants to do and how we can choose to play it better. It's a 1v2. And when we're getting a gank in a 1v2, the most common way that we can force them to stay is by baiting it. When we want level 6, that's still fine. We'll get level 6 just by getting that one minion. We get level 6. At this point, we just don't have any communication between either one of us, so we're on different pages.
mm,
But the one thing that sets this apart is that we are expecting our jungler to use flash. Because other than that, you said yourself you don't think he reaches with his ult, right?
mhm,
Yeah, so we're hoping that our jungler uses flash. And that's really, really big. Because remember what I was talking about last coaching session about free plays? Maybe I talked to you, maybe I didn't. But
yeah,
we
you
want
did.
to go for something that looks very free.
Yeah.
Bindings that are very free are where we have two people focusing the same person, right? For
Mhm,
Kaisa, level 2, we go back in time, right? Kaisa and us, when we were level 2, they were focusing our Jin, and that was free for them because of how far away we were, right?
mm,
Make
yeah.
sense? So that's an
Yeah.
example of something super free. They're not expected to do any flashy plays at all. In this situation, it's the same thing. We really cannot expect our team to do flashy plays, and you gotta get in the habit of not thinking this. I don't know if it's a bad habit or not, but I
Mm,
really, really want to make it clear that you cannot expect your laners to play that amazingly. We need to look for something that's even more free. How do we do it? Say we set it up towards the tower, bait him into here. If our fiddlesticks doesn't ult over the wall, then we actually just can't do anything about it. We can ping that, hey, come over the wall. But if he doesn't ult to start out with, right? How does this all start? How does this work? The only way this works is the fiddlesticks even ults. Before flashing,
yeah.
he has to ult. If he
Yeah.
doesn't ult, this will never work.
Yeah.
Us using a summoner is a lot better than our jungler using a summoner, right?
Mm, yeah.
This just applies in general. If a support has to burn his flash for a jungler's flash, usually it's a worth trade, right? In this situation, if we're hoping for a jungler flash while we still have flash up, right? How likely is our jungler to flash? Probably
Probably
not
not
too
a lot too.
likely, right? Thanks for the follow. Okay, so let's recap one more time. The main reason this doesn't work is because we're expecting a lot from our teammates. We're
Yeah. Mm,
expecting summoner uses from our teammates while we still have our summoners up, right?
yeah.
That's the big thing. Sure our ideas were a little bit different, but the way we get in sync with our ideas is just expect him to not do anything for us, right? What is
Uh-huh.
super free for him to do? If Kaisa pushes in, then he ults, bam, I can maybe flash ult if I really need to, right?
Mhm.
This is the idea that we need to realize as a support, and it's very, very sad that all these junglers have massive egos and they don't want to use summoners, but it's okay. In a team fight, Fiddlesticks' flash with his ulti is gonna benefit so much more than our flash, right? Generally, Sure, you can say my flash binding will be like very useful, or my alt flash is very useful, but in general, a Fiddlesticks alt flash will do way more than our alt
Yeah,
flash, right?
definitely.
I think we could
Definitely.
both agree on that one.
Yeah.
So the ways to prevent this, honestly, just stop thinking your team is gonna do stuff or do anything flashy. Sorry, stop thinking your team's gonna do anything flashy. And if we go around that, we go back to that first concept that we talked about last time, where we want everything to be free. If it's not free, then we're expecting a little bit too much, and it starts getting risky.
Mhm.
Unless you're duo with someone, I wouldn't go for anything that isn't risky. And you'll start to see way more free things the more that you kind of just take a step back and say, how does this work without my jungler using flash? Right?
Mm.
How does this work without my jungler using flash? The answer, we use our flash,
Oh.
right? Well,
Mhm.
assuming Fiddlesticks ults. But if he doesn't ult, then there's honestly nothing we can do. There is really nothing we can do. If he does not ult, and even after we ping, he still does not ult. If we flash in and he still doesn't ult, we just die.
Mhm.
This is the key thing. It's all based. It's all one step at a time. It's all Fiddlesticks needs to ult. We both agreed on that. We thought maybe he would flash for us, but instead maybe we could flash for him to make it easier. And then this
Mhm.
play will work out. Make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we go in, and now, hey, look, Fiddlesticks is nowhere in range, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Let's, oh, do we die? Oh, no.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Um,
But we have to burn our flash, our ignite, our ulti. Fiddlesticks burns his, ulti, and it doesn't really do too much.
yeah.
And he's now tilted out of his mind.
Yeah.
It is okay. This happens, but now we know how we can maybe prevent it.
I was a little confused why the ulti happened
So
at
late?
all. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
Especially because I was like, wait, did he not have it? Was it on cooldown? Like, did he just get six? But it was. I wasn't really sure what was going on.
yeah.
Um.
Well, yeah. Well, he probably felt like, oh, maybe I have to alt here because my Morgana just wasted absolutely everything.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So we're coming from lane. We're looking mid. This is not bad. Um,
Mhm.
we see our jungler here.
Yeah.
This is where we start to get a little bit iffy. And I actually haven't watched ahead, so I don't know if this play works or not.
Okay.
But what I want to keep in mind is at this point into the game, we should realize who is our player that we can trust and who is the players that we cannot trust. Remember what I was talking about playing like a Yumi? We want to play around
Yeah.
those good players, and we want to really see that those good players are what we're making our plays around, because then it will have a higher chance of working.
Mhm.
If we start playing off of players that aren't as good, then I don't know how well it will work. So let's see if we land our binding, maybe this will work. Okay, he actually flashed for us. Well, that's also really good. If he doesn't flash for us and we go for a binding, right? And we whiff the binding, then we just get a lot of time wasted. And this
Mhm.
is where I don't want to tell you don't come mid, but I want to say be aware of who we're trying to make plays around, right?
Yeah.
This looked pretty free, so I would have also gone for it. If Lucian was replaced with Fiddlesticks, then maybe I would go for it even more because I think the Lucian was doing okay.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say, uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. If the Lucian was replaced with Fiddlesticks, we should feel a lot more comfortable going in. And the main reason why is we're playing around that player that's we can kind of trust a little bit more, right?
Mhm.
Even if this Fiddlesticks is not bad, right? We're having a little bit of trust issues with him. He's kind of flaming us. It's not really going too hot.
Yeah.
We don't have a swell relationship with him.
No. Yeah.
All right, so let's see what we do here. Walk up and go for a binding. Um, it's okay. It's another one of those almost max range bindings, right? Okay, and I guess not really max range, but it's another one of those bindings that we're trying to go on a target that is very hard to hit.
Yeah.
And if we throw a binding on Kaisa here, then our Jin can't hit either.
Yeah.
So overall, honestly, there's no harm in just, there's no harm in not throwing the binding,
Mm.
right? Waiting for an opportunity that may be a little bit better to throw it out. If Pike didn't use Q here, then I would really have told you don't throw your binding because you can get punished pretty hard. But he did
Yeah.
whiff his Q, so it's okay. But just keep that in mind. The reason we go for these plays, or sorry, when we're going for these plays, it should have a reason. And we should kind of try to think as much as we can. Remember, patience is not just, hey, I'm standing here, waiting. I'm standing here waiting and thinking, right?
Mm.
I'm thinking of what's about to happen. And it's honestly a lot of brain power, to think this much throughout the game. But I really expect you to just only think for like the first 10 minutes of the game. After that, your thinking can go down. But maybe for the first 10 minutes of the game, try to think a lot. And
Okay.
I don't expect you to think, throughout the. Sorry, when I say think, I mean like, really put thought process into every single action. You should do this subconsciously, but every being very, very aware of everything is more important in the earlier of games.
Mm.
And it was shown pretty clearly in the early game. Positioning wise is something we should think about. Who we can hit, who we should focus. Hey, where am I going? All that kind of stuff is all very, very important in the early game, and that's all an example of thinking properly. Um, Obviously, I'm not telling you to just, shut off your brain in the
Yeah.
next 20
After
minutes.
10
But
minutes. Yeah.
yeah. But just keep in mind, we should be a lot more careful, right? So right now, where does their bot lane go? Do we know? Could they be cheesing in a bush, right? So this
Yeah.
is just examples of maybe I should be aware of a bush, maybe I should W a bush. Uh, this is where thinking more comes in, because now you're starting to tell yourself things like, uh, what can happen here that can kill me? How do I play this better, right?
Mm.
As an ADC, you should be, always scared of a bush, but as a support, we're really not too scared, because a lot of the times they like focusing ADs over us. Um, but right now, if we walk into a bush, right, if we're stepping away from our minions and we get hooked, right, by a pike,
Yeah.
into a Kaisa Q, W, or something like that, we probably die. Right? We have no flash. We might die. Let's see. Are they in a bush? Who knows? No, we do. Well, we don't know. Nope. They. Oh, okay. They were in a bush.
Yeah.
uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he just got at the edge of the ult.
Yeah, the
That was
ulti.
my
Yep,
god.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So I'm
But
dead here.
but again, what can our AD do to really what can our AD do here when our support is walking up freely up here and our AD sees all this farm, right? As an AD carry, sitting back is not going to do anything because if the support gets engaged on, usually they want to help, right? As a AD, they might be scared of these bushes, but since we are walking so confidently up here, we kind of have the AD has to follow us. And it might seem like this play was a matter of them cheesing us, which it was. It still was something that could be prevented. And again, I didn't watch this far into the video, but I still managed to call that, hey, where
Yeah,
did
you
they
did.
go? Right?
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is just an example of I'm trying to think about what can happen here because especially since we're so far behind, I really have to make sure that things that we're doing are going to go good for us. We have to turn the game around somehow. And we can't afford to just keep getting caught.
Mm.
This also will come in hopefully in a future game. If you show me a game that you guys are a little more ahead, you might realize that when you're ahead, you like to, or sorry, not you in specific, but a lot of ahead players like to cheese bushes. It is really useful because of exactly plays like this. They
Mm.
don't check the bush, right? When you're ahead, you want to force that lead even more. And so the thought process that I went through is that um, if I was ahead, I would do this same thing. So now that they're kind of ahead, maybe they're doing the same thing. Make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay. So maybe we haven't gotten ahead enough and used the cheesy bushes enough that we don't recognize this as quickly, right? Maybe that's one of the reasons, and that's okay. Maybe it's something that hasn't been pointed out too often, and that's also okay. This is why I'm bringing it up. I want to just have it, in the air. So now, hey, maybe randomly 30 games down the line, you're just walking through lane, you're just like, oh shit, where did they go? Maybe they're in one of the bushes, right?
Hmm.
And if they're not in the bushes, cool, they're not in the bushes. But what do we really waste from checking the bushes with our W? Not much, right?
No,
Yeah,
especially if you're not maxing it.
exactly. Especially if you're not maxing it. The lane, we barely push anything with our W. Our W is very, very useful for checking these bushes, especially with Spell Thieves or Comet.
Yeah.
Either one allows us to do something. Were they? They might have been in the alcove. I think they were. Regardless, it's one of the same things. Oh no, 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 no! I think he came from this bush. Let me see if I can see.
He came from the bottom bush. I think she came from the alcove.
Yeah, definitely they were trying to cheese us though, and we were, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, not really not really also mechanically, doing the
Yeah.
best
Great.
here, right?
Yeah. Well, he
Maybe
like just got out of the ult, and I was like, "Fuck."
right.
And
Yeah. Oh yeah, because yeah, it is Pike.
literally just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
it lasted for a second, and then that was it.
Right. The more that we play these champions, or the more that we play against mobility champions, the more that we'll realize, hey, it's so hard to hit these champions that we have to really take our time. Patience is the key, right? If we were patient with more of our abilities, we could have maybe saved some of the saved the black shield for our Jin. Maybe at worst case scenario, we die, but our Jin lives, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is that was just an example of we are not being we're not too careful of these bushes now that we're like a little bit behind, which is okay. It happens. But also we're going back to the hey, patience is still going to be useful here in this situation. And sure, you might be improving on patience, right? But we always can keep improving.
Mhm.
All right, so let's skip ahead a little bit. Let's see what happens. And how much gold did we have? I would have waited for boots, but it is me.
For what kind of boost?
For
The Swifties?
at this point, it depends. So
Really?
I
Yeah.
don't like going. Um, I think I don't like going Mobies on Morgana, and the reason
Mhm.
is because of my W will proc Mobies. Um, it depends on the matchup. If we're really far behind, or if I can roam, I will go Swifties, Lucid. If I feel like nothing can stop me from from my Mobies, and I'm really just going for that Q pick, and that's it. I might go Mobies. But generally, a key reason I wouldn't go movies as well is also I don't have enough gold for it. So you gotta buy what you can afford. I would go for Swifties or Lucid.
Lucidity.
Yeah, Lucidity. They actually don't have too many slows on their team, so maybe Lucidity would be a little more beneficial.
Mhm.
Yeah, they really don't have that many slows. All right, so let's see what happens here. We get Flash. Kaisa Flash will be back up
Yeah.
16 minutes.
Good. Yeah.
Do we ever ping it? We do not ping it. That's okay. That's a small mistake we can
Yeah.
maybe work on in the future. I did mention it at the
I
last
yeah.
coaching.
I
Yeah.
try like here and there
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. Don't, no, no, no. Don't worry. Okay. So I
yeah.
mentioned this right now because I know that I know that I told you last time, and I know that it's very hard to improve from it. I, I believe I mentioned it, but a lot of the things I said last time, I said this will not come in 1 to 2 games. It will
Yeah.
not. This will come in a while. It takes practice and constant thinking of I need to improve on this thing first, right? And if I get this better, then I can go on to like this one. If I get that better, I can go on to this one, right? We have to do it one at a time. It's very hard to do. It's very hard to work on everything at once. Very, very hard. But yeah, I do understand that. I completely believe you. I believe that your patience has gotten better. I believe that you've been pinging summoners more. I believe it. You sound like you are very into the coaching session, and it's very weird to see that it would be very weird if you were not trying in your next couple games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be very, yeah. A lot of the times when people get coaching sessions, they usually try to improve. That's the whole reason of getting the session, not it, right?
Mm.
All right, so let's skip it forward a little bit. We didn't swap our trinket, but that's okay. It
Yeah.
happens. No, 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 don't worry, don't worry. It happens. It happens. I know that you know this, right? And this is not something that I need to point out. This is just I know that you know this. Don't worry about it. Okay. You'll fix it in your future games. The more that you play, you will fix it. You just play the role, and I know for a fact that you say it to yourself every single time. Shit, I didn't switch my support item. What am I doing?
I don't
Right?
know if you heard it, but yeah.
Oh, really? Did you actually?
I always every time I forget, which
Yep.
like I hope isn't that frequently, but maybe
Right,
it is.
right, right.
I'm just like fuck. Like I noticed it like halfway to lane. I'm like,
Yeah, it's okay. It happens. It happens. But again, this is not one of the reasons we're losing, right? This is not, same thing with our build. Our build is not one of the reasons we're losing. Now, a lot of the times, there's so much we can do in the very early levels. Oh, oh wow, he went for the Prowler's Claw play. Okay, the stopwatch?
and let me know.
Not bad. Okay, this is just, it, how can we improve this? I'm just gonna ask. This is very very micro, but how can we improve this play? How do we make this play work?
I think I can we go back? Actually, can you lower the replay? I just
Oh,
want
the
to see our
speed?
slow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No problem. Playback speed.
Sorry,
Let's
that's
go to
yeah, the
half.
speed.
All right, so let's watch it in slow motion. This
Speed,
is
speed,
micro,
speed.
but it will help because you play this champion a lot, and I want to go
So
over a little bit.
I probably could have started with an Alt E and then started ulting right away. Um, Even though I didn't know Pike was there, I could assume. Um, it would have started off with slowing her and speeding me up. Um, and then I could still have that bind ready. So that we're focusing on the Kaisa rather than the Pike.
Hmm.
Just, you know, dash right in.
Yeah.
Um,
So very micro, right? But I'm still gonna mention it because I think it's important that you play. That if you play the champion, you should see how you could perfect certain plays. Okay, and so what we know is that we missed our binding. Okay, and Pike is coming out of nowhere. We had very good reaction time to Black Shield ourselves, right? We still could work on alt Eing, but that's okay. We still managed to get off. And we got a two-man alt. We still have stopwatch, and we have flash. See where I'm going with this?
Flashing
Yeah,
downward.
flashing towards them. I know how crazy it seems, but we
Okay.
flash towards them, stopwatch, and we maybe pop an ignite if we're fast enough onto Pike or someone like that, and we get a kill out of it. But I'm not expecting you to do this. I just want you to see it so you have an idea of how this could have worked if you played it, almost perfectly, right? For
So
after your whiffed Q.
I am struggling to. Okay, I'm struggling to understand how it's a little how that's different. Let me rephrase. I feel like if I flash downward,
Yeah.
I am counting on my Jin to make a flashy play. Even if I'm using my own summoners, I feel like if I'm going downward, especially with Kaisa being that far away, um, Jin could maybe opt like, oh, she's already dead, and walks out. Um,
Right. Yeah, okay, I see where you're going with this. So here's the thing. Our target right now, and the reason I say the reason I'm saying all this is our target right now should be Pike. And our reasoning for focusing Pike is because he has used his dash ability right?
Mm.
And I mean, we don't know if his flash is up. I wasn't really paying attention. We know this guy's flash is down, but he's used his dash ability, so we're more likely to land a binding on, or land an ulti on him if we can, get it by flashing in. And now, who's the closest target to our uh, ADC? Right now, it's the Pike, right?
Mm.
Say we let's go back. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's really just micro. It is really just micro, and I cannot teach you micro, but I can show you how this could be better, and hopefully it gives you some spark of confidence to try this once in a while, right?
Okay.
Um, limit test once in a while. But we get the ulti. If we flash in, right? The idea is this guy can't escape anymore. Where does he go without his E? Assuming he doesn't have, or his W. He came in with W, I believe, as well, right?
Mm.
So where does he go? He can't escape the ulti if we flash in. And at this point, sure, we're expecting our Jhin to do a bit of damage. But what Jhin also sees, and even if it's late, is that both targets are pretty much stunned. If we flash in, Kaisa can't focus our Jhin, right?
Mm.
If we flash in, Pyke can't focus our Jhin. And the reason he can't focus it is because he wasted everything on us, right? So this is why it's still a free play with just a very, very, you're expecting your AD carry to attack something close to him. And this is not flashy. Flashy is him flashing and trying to make the play work for her as well, to kill her.
Mm.
That will be very rare to get this play to work on Kaisa. We're just trying to make the most of the situation. We might die for this, but it's honestly probably still worth because of how behind we are. And these are plays that, trading a 1-for-1 with, their AD carry getting a kill, but our AD carry getting a kill is not that bad if we're behind.
Mm.
It's something to keep in mind. Just, I think hopefully this is a little more clear. If not, don't
No,
worry.
it's a lot more
Okay.
clear. I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
see how it's different from the fiddlestick situation now.
Yeah, if not, don't worry about it too much. Again, it's micro. I really, really want to stress that I don't want to continue teaching micro because it's so hard to teach. It is very inconsistent, and it takes just hours of practice to get your micro to be good. Instead, I can teach you macro and help you with concepts that will hopefully, oof, that sucks. Hopefully, make it a bit easier for us to do something. At this point, another micro thing, but we could queue Kaisa, right, to allow for a free shot at Pyke. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But he stopped his ulti. Oh, we got the binding on him, but he still died. Unfortunate. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This is one of those games where, at this point, you really just gotta hit tab and you gotta see who's doing good on my team. How can I make it so? Because these 2v2s are not gonna go too well anymore, right? We're really far behind now. The chances of a 2v2 working right now is gonna be very low. How can I make sure that we're still in this game? How can I carry as a support even if I'm behind, right? And the reason we do that, or the way we do that, is we make sure that we focus the laners that are doing good. We got to make sure that, we're leaving. We got to make sure that when we're leaving for one, we leave at, at a time that our AD carry is not going to just fully run it. Sometimes they still run it down, even when we're gone. But more often than not, if we're looking for something around, now the Lucian, or actually, I don't know how good the Mundo's doing because I don't think you've hit tab in a little bit. But
Mm.
other than that, yeah, I actually don't think you've hit tab in a while. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But the big thing is, right, we want to focus the players that are doing good. Let's say we're hovering mid because we're expecting something to happen. Maybe we prevent, or maybe we make this 2v2 play a lot better for us. Because right now, what are we doing? We're trying to get vision for dragon,
Mm.
which is okay. But this plant isn't gonna do too much right now. We can always go back to this plant. If we're getting vision for dragon, we should probably go a little bit like over here, right? And we already have this ward. Getting picks before dragon are also another opportunity that we can look for. And getting picks before dragon involve us playing around Lucian. So the more plays, remember macro is there's not one right way to do something, right? In your head, through one game, you might think, okay, I want to get the vision around here. I want to get the vision around here. And then we look for a fight with Fiddlestick loyalty, and that's how we win it, right? In the next game, same team comp, we say, I want to make a pick mid lane before we go for this dragon fight, right? Both of them are still good options. They're still good. You have a solid plan in mind, but one of them plays around, our Lucian, and one of them plays around our Fiddlesticks. And so these are suggestions to make your macro a little bit easier to not have the stakes, right? I'm not saying it's perfect macro, but it will give you some room to work with because of how fed our laner that we're playing with are compared to like the other one. Here's Pyke, doing Pyke things. Honestly, he could have just killed you if you went in, but that's okay. His damage is crazy with Prowler's Claw. But yeah, at this point, right, we should really hit tab to see what we're doing. We have no Fiddlesticks ulti. We cannot do this dragon. If your team tries to go for this dragon, I would ping them back.
Yeah.
Ping them back, I'd ping Fiddlesticks ulti. We shouldn't even be here, right? This is... Okay, we killed... it's a 1-for-1. Not bad, but it's still... with Pyke ulti getting the gold, it's not as worth, right? But regardless, right, they still get the dragon, and we just died. What did we really get from this? Maybe a little bit of gold on our Fiddlesticks, but that Fiddlesticks is really not the best. So at this point, we still... I don't think we're... am I missing it? We're not pressing tab, right? I'm not missing it, am I? I'd really like to know how the game state's going. Maybe I'm skipping over it. I don't think so though. We should really hit tab a little bit more to see what's going on. Because what's happening top lane? Who's winning? We have no idea, right?
So I did have comms with the top laner.
Ah, gotcha. That's what do it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we didn't know that. Okay, but like, how fed is our mid laner now, right? How fed is our bot laner now? All these kind of stuff very matter. What items did they buy? Did they get a power spike in their items, right? Prowler's Claw is a very important item that we should be aware of from the support, from the AD. If their AD gets both of their Hurricane and Kraken Slayer, it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, what does our mid laner have? We still don't know. Maybe you click on him eventually. But just keep in mind, right? As I said, I was gonna skim over this like end part because it's really bot lane. Their bot lane got ahead, and how did their bot lane get ahead? Because of all the mistakes we did early game. And honestly, it's not flame. It's just this is how we can improve that. Even though this game felt really kind of doomed, there were so many miscommunications. There were so many plays that can be prevented instead of just my teammates should have done this. Or if only we had enough damage to kill someone, right? So all of we should really try to look for the root of the cause. What's the main reason that these plays aren't working? Not in just a specific situation, in more general sense. Why is this play not working in a general sense? That's how we look to improve. All right, so let's go ahead right now. What's happening here? Oh, we just whiff binding. Actually, he dodges it, I guess. I'll give him that. He dodged our binding. Unfortunately.
I tried to help him.
Yeah, you tried. Oh, you just got yourself killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pyke Prowler's Claw is, it's something.
Yeah, the Pyke fucked me up.
Yeah.
Constantly so slippery. He would dash just right behind me so that the bind.
Yep.
Morgana
is a very almost one-dimensional champion. A lot of the time she's not seen in pro play for this reason. There's really, I think LS has a term for it, but her E can only do so much, right?
Mm.
You can only black shield so much, and you only can black shield one target.
Yeah.
So, a team that has a million CC, players like to think, oh, just pick Morgana. They have Leona, they have a Twisted Fate, blah blah blah. You can do so much, and it's just like, oh wait, you know, I only can black shield one person. It really doesn't do that big of a deal. Um, they just switch targets with their other CC, and it doesn't go too well for us. How did this guy die? Oh, he got okay. I see. All right, so I just want to skip ahead a little bit, and then we're gonna go quickly recap from the end or from the beginning, because honestly, the rest of the game just kind of looks like. Sure, we could have done a little bit better in terms of positioning. We could have been a little more aware of how fed they are. Oh wait, you hit tab. We could have been a little more aware of how fed they are. We could have been placing some wards that might help us better. Blah blah blah. But honestly, at this point in the game, we should look back and we should see why did we lose bot lane. How can we make it so that we win bot lane next time? Because how much control did they have on the map when they won bot lane? A lot, right? They had a lot of pressure on the map from winning bot lane. And the same concept should be applied if we won our bot lane. The game state should be completely different. Completely different if we won our bot lane. And so this is what you should try to look for. Instead of just worrying too much about like this rest of the game, because I don't even think the last coaching session I spent too much time on the end half of the game. Because I strongly believe if you're winning the early game and you're winning it hard, the game just makes it's so much easier. It's so much easier. And if you show me a game where you're winning bot lane, right? And you do all the things that I say, then we can start going on to, all right, what mistakes are you now making in the mid game? Because now we're starting to, somehow we're still losing even after winning bot lane, right? And that's something that, it happens, but it shouldn't happen very, very often. And if it does happen very, very often, it's because maybe we're throwing the game somehow. Make sense? Okay. So let's go and see. Ooh, this is just, what are we doing here? It's a 3 versus, question mark, question mark, question mark, maybe 5. We have no idea how many people are here. They have a Pike. It could easily be 3 at the very least. They have a Kha'Zix. It could easily be 4 at the very least. And then who's their Yone? Their Yone can be flanking from, from this angle over here. But who knows, right? At this point, it's a 3 versus something greater than 3, and this is probably not going to be. Ooh, that's a less than 3 versus something greater than 3. Regardless, this right here is just an example of we're doing something with a numbers disadvantage that we don't want to do. Oh look, Kha'Zix comes. Pike might be near. Oh, we got Mortalted. Oh, I don't think we win that. Run. Nope. There's Yone, and is Pike near? Pike can be there in 2 seconds, but Pike could be near is the idea. Okay, kind of faker. All right. So, but these are things that we will go over if you start winning your bot lanes a lot more consistently, right? And sure, your other games you might win bot lane a lot, but if these mistakes are arising and you're still winning your bot lane, there's a lot to improve on, right? And if these mistakes are happening in your future games and we're not winning bot lane, we know why. Make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does. Yeah.
There you go. If you have any questions about any of this, just make sure you tell me.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I feel like you've explained things pretty clear. I feel like there was a lot of things I was confused about this game, and you definitely put into perspective just so many different things that are good. I have friends watching the stream, and when you're like, I don't know if this is a bad habit, and they're all like, it's a bad habit. They like put them like, donate and say that it's a bad habit. They're like, it's like, all right, love the support.
Yeah.
But no, it's all good.
I was actually thinking of putting TTS on, or the text to speech, for donations or whatever, but then I don't know how to filter it properly.
Yeah, they're all saying LMFAO, love you. Yeah, so it's great. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the end.
Yep. This looks like the end, and
Um,
we get a ignite. Gotcha. All right.
oh yeah, I got the kill like that.
Yeah.
Plus,
At
plus
this
eight.
game, yeah. So again, right, I'm not saying that the end of the game is this game is not winnable. Okay. I was not trying to say that from this like end half. I'm not trying to say the game's not winnable. It is definitely winnable, but I don't think it is your biggest problem. I think right now your problem is, or I think that right now the as a support main that's climbed as support, I think that the best thing that helps you climb is to start by winning laning phase. And from there, we can make so many more mistakes that we can get away with. You know, I'm not saying we're trying to force bad habits, but I'm saying we have a little bit more room to work with because of how ahead we are.
Mhm.
If bad habits arise, that's how we can see it because we're then losing losing the game after winning laning phase. And I want to keep stressing this point. Laning phase really matters. And even in a lane that you think, hey, there's no way I win this lane, you know, by going even in a scaling lane is winning lane, right? But how can we win that lane harder? In Platinum, I'm sure there are plenty of mistakes that you can abuse from by playing, you know, champions like enchanters that have range advantage, by poking properly, landing skill shots properly, trading properly, you know, all that kind of stuff. Even if you're Soraka into a Nautilus, right? You're still able to do something. There should always be something that you can do in your laning phase, and from there we work off that. But again, this is why I don't recommend. I wouldn't recommend Soraka if you wanted to climb until you get into a little bit higher elo, and it just becomes hard. Honestly, even in higher elo, it's just hard. You're really relying on your team not to just die in 2 seconds. Okay, so this game looks to be a bit over.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. All right, we actually talked about a lot. So
Yeah.
we go and start with this.
Uh-huh.
Actually, wait, we start with this. Just first thing, basic concept. When we're ranged versus melee, we should always be able to get level 2 first, unless something crazy happens. Like they don't leash and they get the push first. And we have to leash, right? Or maybe we get hooked or cheesed. This is the first thing, right? We need to make sure that we use the advantage that we have. So ranged versus melee. We have to make sure that we are winning these kind of matchups. And the way we do that, we start by auto attacking. We want to make sure that when we hit level 2, we're aware of what's happening and we know that we take into account the relic shield that they have.
Mhm.
I don't think there's a melee support out there that doesn't take a relic item. I could be wrong, but I don't think there is. And knowing that, you should just, in range versus melee matchups, you should keep in mind that the next wave, even though it looks kind of even right now, right, and it looks like we're winning right now, they have the huge advantage from Relic Shield.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's the first thing. Second thing, when we know we're going to hit level 2 first, and this is more champion specific, first, we can, I guess we can ping. I'll do 2A. We can ping, right, that we want to go in. Ping our intentions, very important. The second thing is, let me see if I can, oh wait, I have an eraser tool. Perfect. Okay, so we want to ping our intentions. The second thing is that we want to just walk at them. We can take E level 2, right, versus, this is more champion specific. We can take E level 2 versus a hook support, and we can go walk straight line and we focus AD. So I'll just say 2C as well. Focus AD. This is this is very packed with information. This focus AD, because obviously there's certain situations where we can't focus the AD, and this is what we should be looking for. Remember what I was talking about? This all applies for, you know, what's free, what's not free. In this situation, we're going down here for kind of no reason. And it's really just putting ourselves in a spot where this pike is our only target now. Instead, walk straight at them. If they walk away, it is still good for us. Right now we have pressure. If we can make them miss the CS, we have done our job. We have taken advantage of level 2. It's as simple as that. Right? The small trades are still good. But instead, we forced something that couldn't work. And the reason it couldn't work was, a multitude, a lot of things. We took W, and then we got hooked. We started focusing support instead of AD, et cetera, et cetera. And it turned out from, instead of we take the small trade and they lose a minion, oh, look, we got double killed, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be aware of this. Focus AD and taking E, and and pinging all go together. And these are all things that we should look for. All right, so let's skip ahead. Okay, we're starting to do this again, but it's okay. As I said, it will take a while. We want to look to roam, and we want to look at lanes, right?
Yeah.
So we want to look at lanes. All right. Oh no, there you go. Okay. I actually really like this tool. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep it on the screen so we're aware of what we're trying to go on. Okay, so let's skip ahead. Let's skip ahead. What happens? What happens? This is a small one, but I will still mention this. I'll put this at 3A or something. Yeah, B, whatever. Wave, right? Look at your wave. Look at your wave. Hopefully that's understandable. But regardless, if you don't understand any of this or you forget any of this, we can always go back in the video. Okay, so same thing applies when we roam. We want to look at wave, right? What happened to this? We got a roam off mid, but what did we do? We did not help push. It really sucks that we used our W to try to get an assist, but that's okay. I would have almost done the same. You gotta get that free money. But at this point, now we don't have W. We really gotta help push. And I would just constantly, I'd walk my way up. Let's see if I can go here. I'd walk my way up to here, and I'd maybe try to get a Q onto this cannon, and I'd just keep trying to auto attack the wave because I know how low Lucian is. Right, Lucian's super low, and I know the jungler can gank. And if I'm a jungler, I want these. This Lucian looks super free. And so this is just, continuation on 3. We look at waves. It's not only for our own lane, but we need to look at lanes for other lanes, or look at waves for other lanes. All right, so we skip ahead. This is, I'll mention this because it applies to a lot of situations, but this is where the first part I mentioned it. And this will probably be one of the last things I mention, or one of the last big things. It's patience. We mentioned it last game. Last coaching sessions. Patience. There we go. We mentioned it last coaching session. We mentioned this coaching session. Patience with your abilities comes a lot. It's very, very important. It'll come into play in the early game, it'll come into play in the later game, and it'll come into play throughout whatever champion you play. Always just try to see what you can do by just being a little more patient, right? If we're getting engaged on or something like that, it's very hard to practice patience, and I know that, and that's okay. There's certain situations where we need to be super fast, super flashy. We gotta quickly land our flash ulti, flash Q, blah, blah, blah. But in other situations, just thinking about patience is going to help a lot. It's very hard to perfect. Very hard to perfect. This is something I'll still mention as well. So I'm going to see how I can word this to make it a little bit more better. What I want to say is we should be aware of how the enemy plays. I think this is, So how enemy plays. And what I mean by this is that when they're ahead, what are they going to do? And, to figure out what they're going to do when ahead, we take a look at what we would do when ahead, right? When we're ahead, a lot of the times you want to look for as many fights as you can because you know you're way stronger. Same thing should apply vice versa. We should keep in mind, because we have experience playing like them, playing ahead, we should have experience facing it. And the way to prevent things that they're doing is we just take a look at what we would do, right? What would we do to make it so we win lane even harder? And one thing that we can do is we would try to cheese and try to force as many fights as we can. Their bot lane was not low here, or not low enough, right? If it's just us and they're fed, they can still kill us pretty easily. If maybe Jin arrived, this could have been pretty scary. But it looks like they're fine right now. And then I think right here, I don't think this is the exact play. Oh, this is where you just run it into. Yeah. But I'm not even gonna mention that. But same thing could happen here, right? If we walk up and we lost vision of them, they could try to cheese us. Okay, so let's go ahead. Right now, that guy's just inting, whatever. AD carries do that. This is the one with our fiddlesticks. We cannot expect flashy plays. So, how can I do this? Flashy. Oh, that is not a flashy play. Flashy? No. There you go. Simple. We can't expect flashy plays. And we went over this, right? We cannot expect our teammates to do these flashy plays because they want to save their summoners if possible. And this will apply in the future. This will apply a lot in the future when we're roaming mid or something like that. Instead of having our mid laner force his summoner to get the kill or, make the kill a possibility, we should use our summoners first. Try to get our summoners to blow on their mid laner, and then, maybe we trade support sum for mid sum. That is worth it. Now our mid laner has his sum advantage, and now he can win his lane on his own, theoretically. Right? Make sense so far?
It does.
Okay. Any comments, concerns, questions?
No, I think because my main concern in terms of me like not understanding was like the difference between this play and then like the Lucian suggestion that you make later on in this game. But I think when you clear that up, then like it's sticking now. So
okay.
Yeah.
So right, and then this game. I think this is pretty much going to be the big things. Sure, first of all, anything I said beforehand, please don't ignore. Right? I don't think you will. Okay, and that's really nice. But just anything I said beforehand, it still can apply to this game, right? We talked about patience. It applied for this game. We talked about pinging. Hey, look, it applied to this game. We also talked about playing like a Yumi, where you play around one of your most fed players. It still applies to this game, but I don't think that it's worth mentioning again. Okay, because I'm sure you know it, and especially now, I'm sure you know it a little bit more, right? But I don't think it's worth writing. But I'll just keep it in mind. If you ever watch this VOD back, at least I'm saying it verbally, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the big things. And then I'll answer the question about the Jana in chat a little bit later. These are the big things that I have for you, right? Honestly, they will take a while to work on. We'll be completely realistic here. But this is almost all laning phase. All of this can apply to laning phase, right? Mm-hmm. And laning phase, if we are able to make it, so that we're winning 90% of our laning phases, or, right now, because what it looks like is if we're continuously making these mistakes, we might win some, we might lose some. And the reason we might lose some is they take advantage of one thing or another on here, right? Maybe multiple things. Basically, all we need to just keep in mind is we want to play to improve, right? Don't worry too much about how am I going to carry this game from the very end. Sure, if you want you can think about that a bit, but I would highly suggest, especially during preseason, highly suggest working on some of your mistakes first, and then going into seeing how you can translate that to a win, right? We want to see if we can limit all of our mistakes in our laning phase. We want to see if we can get almost all of our laning phases to be, dominant laning phases, or at the very least even. At the very, very least even. We want to prevent almost any losses in our laning phase. And if we have a loss in our laning phase, you can maybe go back into the VOD, see if any of these things arise. Maybe I didn't focus the AD carry, and they did, right? They had that advantage where they were able to focus the AD, and I wasn't, and this is why we lost that laning phase. Maybe the wave state was really bad. My AD carry wanted to stay, and I didn't realize that the wave wasn't going to push the tower. I should have stayed with him, something like that, and he got killed for it, right? All of these can apply in future games, and this is very important to keep in mind, but I really just want to keep iterating, keep saying, this is what we should try to work on for now. Make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Okay. This is also pretty. Keep in mind, this is, I'm sure you know this, but keep in mind, this is not a tier list of how important things are. There's no order of importance to this. This list. It is just what I spotted, and where chronological. That's the only order. This is honestly really important, though. That's probably this will help you a lot. And when you start to realize this, you'll start focusing on your own mistakes more, which is very, very important. But yeah, pretty much, as long as we get this down, hopefully things will go better. Do you have any other questions?
No, I think that's it. I think pointing out the flashy play and why it's wrong. I think a lot of times, I try to focus on my mistakes, but I think it's also like sometimes I'm like, well, if this person followed up, like I'm risking a lot, so I'm expecting that same
Yep.
risk from someone else, but that's
Yep.
not realistic,
Yeah, it's not.
especially in a
Solo queue game.
solo queue. Yeah,
Yeah.
so um,
Right. These are solo queue specific as well. So if anyone is, confused, saying, hey, what if I'm playing a team game and we're in comms? Obviously, if you're in comms, a lot of these are way different. But yeah, I think if you have no more questions, then feel free to. I will link you the VOD after. Oh, I don't know if you answered the question or not, but did you ever watch Core JJ's videos on support?
no, I didn't. But you said that you could
Yeah,
send
yeah,
them
yeah.
to me.
I will send them. I will link them to you. They are very, very important for getting this concept down. And it's not just focusing AD. It's how they were able to focus our AD and we weren't able to focus theirs. It's the idea of positioning. He will bring up an idea of being parallel with your ADC, stuff like that. Very, very important to keep in mind. And I don't want to just, repeat word for word what a video on YouTube can show you as well. It's honestly just a waste of my time and it's a waste of your time, right? If you wanted to learn on your own those kind of things, which are very important, then I can, there's a YouTube video made by a pro support player that you can just watch. Very easy. It is in Korean, but there are subtitles that are very, very clear. I think like the editor does a really good job with the subtitles. It's not just like, closed caption subtitles. It's actually just,
Nice.
edited on. Yeah, it's pretty nice. But I will link that to you afterwards. And then if you have no more questions, then I'm going to delete this. No more questions?
No, I'm good. I did have one question for the beginning.
Okay.
It was just about the ward thing. So I try.
Oh, yeah.
So if you go to, it's about 1 minute. Yeah. So, I might have actually put one in that bush. So typically I try to get one by chickens.
Okay.
And sometimes like I don't know if it's any in the recordings I've ever sent you, but I'll just be like, I'm dangerous, so I'm well aware of the risk.
Okay.
And there have been times I'm really punished for it.
Right.
Yeah, but I like getting that ward there. I don't know. There's something so satisfying about it. I'm like, yeah, it's helpful. But can you just, and it doesn't have to be super long, but like explain why like you would rather use a ward elsewhere earlier on.
Oh
Like,
yeah, since the main reason is we're playing for our lane, right? And so if this goes into jungle pathing. If Kha'Zix starts bot side, right? We go into jungle pathing. A lot of the people, I think it's fairly clear that if someone is going to start bot side, they're going to end up pathing towards top side, right? fairly simple jungle pathing. There's obviously exceptions with level 2 ganks, or maybe they do a full bot side clear and then gank bot, right? And then go into our jungle if our jungler started top side. There's exceptions. There's exceptions to the rule. The thing is, if their jungler starts bot lane, he's probably going to end up top lane. So if we know this, then we don't have to really ward for the jungler because we can assume that he's going to be topside. And the more that we can assume about the jungler, the better that we get at tracking the jungler, the more useful our ward in lane can be to make it so we can punish anyone trying to take bush control. Because now, if they don't know information about our jungler, but we have information on their jungler, just because of our game knowledge, right? Not because of an actual ward, but because of our game knowledge, then they have to waste their ward on, if the jungler will gank, and they can't use their ward on the lane bushes. If we're able to take lane bush control, we can do a lot of bindings from bushes that are, obviously bindings from bushes that are unwarded are easier to land. We can try to look for poking with auto attacks. Like sorry, that's a minion. But if we target a champion, we go outside of the bush, auto attack it, and then walk back in the bush to drop minion aggro, right? If the bush is warded against us, then it's not. We can't really do this. If the enemy has bush control, then we ward the bush, so they're unable to do that. So it's a lot of you have a lot more room to work with the ward, as long as you're using it properly. If you're wasting your ward early, at the very least, we want to switch to sweepers. So if they start warding a bush like this, or if they ward this, we can sweep it, and we can just be like, hey, look, my ward's useful up here. Oh, sorry. My ward's useful up at chickens. Your ward just got deleted, So now they're stuck with no ward. They don't have sweepers or anything like that. And we just made the best case scenario.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, cool. Any other questions?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, I definitely went overtime again, but it's a lot of fun. I do this for fun.
And I definitely think this VOD I'll probably watch a little more intently. Like the other one, I feel like I was.
Yeah.
I mean, the other one I think was definitely a lot longer. So I think there was more time to absorb it all. Like in that moment.
Oh, but, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I think this one I'll probably. This one there's bad behaviors that I can admit and acknowledge, and so therefore, yeah.
Hey, yeah. Hey, I'm back after work and missed all this stuff. Can you go back to the beginning? Well, here's the beginning. Let's see if I can go back.
2 minutes and 41 seconds.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can't go back to the beginning. No, I wanted to see if I can get the. I wanted to undo consistently and get that whole message back up, but whatever. You can go back to the stream bond. Okay, so if that's it, then perfect. Just see if you can work on the laning phase, like I said before, and then we'll basically just meet up again whenever you're free. Just send me a time, and we'll work off that. I mean, you have a bunch of sessions to work with, and we don't have to do these sessions, one after another immediately. Take your time in between. Obviously, your mental health and your physical health are very important. Please do not just, think that you have to get games in. Yeah. Do not think you have to get games in just to, get a review and get the most out of, your session. I will wait. I'm pretty flexible with my coaching sessions.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is our first of the bundle.
Yeah, this is the first of the bundle. Yes. Second coaching session overall. Okay, and then and then I might post this one if I can cut it down onto YouTube actually. We'll see. We will see.
My floppier game.
Oh yeah, maybe I'll do the lot. We'll see. But I definitely do want to post one of them. Eventually I'll start posting things onto my YouTube channel. I just want to get some form of support information. And so if you wanted to stick around, you can stick around. I'm gonna answer the couple questions in chat, and then other than that, I'm gonna go eat. I'll come back and probably play some solo queue games.
Yeah.